Why this car? And why such a high payment?
To be honest with you, I've always only driven a BMW since my first car.
Okay.
This is my fourth BMW, and I just like BMWs.
Welcome to Financial Cleanup. My name is Marcos, and with me is my lovely co-host Layla.
Today we have Ebony. Thank you for coming.
No problem. Hi, guys.
Ebony, tell us your age, where you're from, and what do you do for a living?
So my name is Ebony. I'm 36 years old. I'm originally from New York, and I moved to Connecticut about 2 years ago. I'm a registered nurse, and I also do real estate on the side.
Awesome. You got a lot going on.
I do. I'm a very busy woman.
How much would you say you make annually?
Annually, I make about $98,000 a year.
Okay, that's just with nursing?
Yes.
Are you part-time or full-time?
Part-time.
Part-time right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many hours a week are you working?
32 hours a week, so that's what makes it part-time.
Okay. Is there any reason why you're not working 40?
Not necessarily.
Can you work the 40? Can you work more than 40?
Yeah, I can.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's something we're going to have to discuss a little later because we have a lot to discuss.
Okay.
So from our 4 financial categories, you rated yourself as desperate. Can you tell us a little bit about your situation and what's going on? Why do you feel that you're in this desperate situation?
Right now, I'm currently struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to stay afloat. So that's why I would rate myself as desperate now. Yeah, just a lot of credit card debt, student loans, which we all have, I know, but yes, just trying to stay afloat. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we could figure this out.
Yep.
Moving along, let's review your debt. Let's talk about student loans. So do you have any student loans?
I have a ton of student loans.
What did you go to school for?
I went to school for my bachelor's degree in nursing, and then I went back to school for my doctorate, which I didn't complete. So right now I currently just have my bachelor's degree.
Okay. So we're showing here federal student loans, total balance $184,156.
That's
with
correct.
An average interest rate of 8%. It's a little high. And right now we're showing a minimum of $1,332 payment, but you said you're not making that, right? And that could possibly change?
Yes, that could possibly change.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, they've been deferred only because I was in school for my degree. So when you're in school, you're not obligated to pay the student loan at that time. So.
Okay. Do you know when that's going to restart?
It should probably restart maybe back in June.
Coming June. So we got 4 or 5 months. What are we now? April? Oh, man. Oof. So 2 months.
Coming up.
2 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something we're going to have to look into. So you have Mohila. So you were in the process of doing the PSLF?
Yes.
The Public Student Loan Forgiveness Program?
Mm-hmm.
So what that is after 120 completed payments, the loan essentially gets forgiven, right? But there's certain qualifications that you would need to meet that.
Yeah.
So you're on track to do that, correct, for some of them?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is that something that you plan on pursuing?
Yes.
Or yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Personal loans. Do you have any?
I do.
Got a ton. We have Klarna, Zipco, Affirm. What are those for?
Those are from me shopping online.
Okay. What are you
Which
buying?
many of us are guilty of.
Yes.
It's okay.
Mostly I'm buying stuff from Amazon, Target, clothing, Fashion Nova, different stuff like that.
So not necessary things.
Unnecessary things.
Okay. So we have a balance of $79 for the Klarna, Zipco $168, Affirm $774 is what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then are you paying that every month on the balances? Are you up to date on that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Car loans. Let's talk about car loans. So do you have any car loans?
I do.
What kind of car do you drive?
A BMW X3
X3. What year?
2020.
Okay. It looks like we have a total balance due of $34,198 with an interest rate of 8.74 and a minimum payment of $754. Why this car and why such a high payment?
Why this car? So to be honest with you, I've always only driven a BMW since my first car.
Okay.
This is my fourth BMW, and I just like BMWs, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your loan term?
5 years.
5 years? Okay. Rule of thumb, when you're buying a luxury car, ideally it's to buy cash. When you're looking to buy something that is just strictly for you getting around, example, an entry level, Toyota Camry or, Kia, something like that, the rule of thumb is 23.8. You want to put 20% down, financed over 3 years, and it cannot be more than 8% of your gross income. And it seems none of those are within that. Yeah, within that restriction there.
Okay. Next is medical debt. Do you have medical debt?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what we saw with the synchrony?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You have a balance of $3,620 for that. There's no interest on that. Is that correct?
I believe so. I believe there's no interest.
We're going to talk about that further as we discuss all these other charges that we have.
Okay.
Okay. Next is credit cards and checking and savings account. So you have, what you provided is 1, 2, 3. We have 4 credit cards, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you have 3 checking accounts
Yes.
and 2 saving accounts.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go over the credit card first. So we're going to take a look at Citi. So you have a previous balance of $4,898. You made a $50 payment. You made $158 in purchases, making your new balance $5,050.50. You're maxed it out. Your credit limit is $5,500.
So you're basically maxed out.
Yeah.
So rule of thumb is you want to be under 30% utilization per card and overall. So if you have 5 cards, you add them all up, you want to be under that 30%.
Okay.
Ideally lower than that. Ideally if you can stay under 10%, but once you start getting into a higher percentages above 30, that's when it really starts to negatively affect your credit.
Okay.
Just keep that in mind. So this obviously is not good. It's hurting you.
Yeah.
Plus the interest that you're paying.
The interest rate is 29%. Your minimum payment is $94. From this statement, it doesn't seem there were much purchases. We have Realtor Association fees, which is $145, and the rest is like cafes, 2 other charges. The real estate, is that monthly or is it an annual fee?
There's annual fees, and then there are I think there's biannual or something, and then there's monthly fees.
Okay. Are you currently active, a real estate agent?
I am an active real estate agent, but I don't actively do real estate.
Like full time?
Right, yeah, because I work.
What can we do to get rid of that? Is there any way to, since you're not actively working in that industry, is there any way we can eliminate that?
Yeah, I mean, I can potentially just give my license back to the state until I'm ready to practice full time, or I can consult with other brokerages to possibly switch and, see about eliminating fees and different things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would see if you can do that because right now that's a monthly charge of $145 that it's going to waste because you're not actively selling houses. So if you can eliminate that, that's going to be more money back into your pocket that you need. As far as this balance here, this is, the most recent balance we have, so we can't see the transactions. Do you remember what you bought on this credit card?
Most likely clothes, shopping for my house, different things like that.
But nothing that you actually needed, right? It's just things that you wanted.
Some things that maybe it might have been for the car. Like I needed brakes before, tires, something like that.
Okay.
Your next credit card we're going to take a look at is your Wells Fargo signature card. We have your previous balance was $2,955. You made a payment of $350, $815 of purchases, making your new balance $3,493 with an interest rate of 24%. You're maxing out this credit card as well with a total credit limit of $3,600, just so you're aware. Okay. We have a Realtor Association, $271 on this credit card as well.
That's the biannual fee. Actually, that was broken up between those 2 cards.
Okay.
Yeah. And then because the monthly fee is $90 for the real estate. But on that credit card, probably most likely it could be food, could be clothing, could be things for the home.
And the clothing you're buying, what is it for? Is it for like work? Is it for just personal?
Mostly personal.
Personal?
Yeah.
Well, we're no longer going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because you should have plenty of clothes based on these transactions.
Yeah.
The next credit card we are going to look at is your Navy American Express card. Previous balance was $4,817. You made a payment of $118. You made $179 of purchases, making your new balance $4,951, which on this credit card as well, we are maxing out. You have a credit limit of $5,000 with an interest rate of 18%. Your minimum payment for this card is $121. So this one just seems to be, based on this statement, just Starbucks. We have Starbucks, 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 Starbucks. Each one is $10 and the one is $15.
How often you go to Starbucks?
Every day that I work, usually.
Every day?
Mm-hmm.
What are you getting there?
I get a chai tea latte with extra cold foam and a pump of vanilla.
How much is that? $10 every time. Wow.
Well, because so it's on the card, so then they make you add $10 or $15 to the Starbucks card.
Oh, because you
once
load it up.
Right, once you load it up, you can only do 10, 15, 20, 25.
Oh, okay, so this is you loading up your card.
Correct. And then it might last me 2 purchases, if that, because if I do $15 or the $10, it might be,
I see Uber Eats. How often do you do that?
Not that often. Maybe like a few times out of the month, but not. Yeah.
Okay. That's the most expensive way to get food. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
The Starbucks, you can afford it, especially every day you can afford it. Make it at home. Buy a Keurig or
Chai
an alternative.
Syrup, pump.
Yeah, go to Marshall, TJ Maxx. They have, you can buy a whole pump for like $4, I think. The sugar pumps.
So the next one we have, which I don't have the statement, but I have the important information which we need, is the credit union business card, which you said you primarily use for your real estate.
Yes.
Okay. So your minimum is $119. The total balance is $4,947 with the interest rate of 17%.
What did you spend on there?
For that card, could be for a website, could be like the Shopify, the domain for the website, and different things like that, real estate stuff.
On all these credit cards, you are getting charged interest. Mm-hmm. On the first credit card, you have you're getting charged $43. The second one is $72. The other one is $72 as well. And I did not get the interest charge for the business card.
So how much money have you made from the real estate?
Altogether, I probably made about $2,000.
$2,000?
Since I've been doing it it's been a year and a half.
That's not something that you're really focused on, I would say.
At the moment.
Right?
No.
Okay. I think we need to eliminate any costs associated with real estate. The only thing I would pay for is just the minimum to keep your license active. I think you have to pay, is it every 2 years?
I think it's
if the state holds it. That's the only thing, so that way you don't have to retest and do the course all over again. Mm-hmm. Everything else I would completely cut out. Okay. Because we're going to talk about your employment and how we can work, right?
Next, we're going to take a look at your checking account. So it looks like you use this for everyday spending. Correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have an ending balance of $441 for your checking account. Let's take a look. All right. So we have a lot of Starbucks and Dunkin' going on in this card as well. Starbucks, Dunkin'. Mobile apps. So you load up the Dunkin' card on this one too? Yes. Yeah. Are you getting coffee here or just drinks?
Just drinks or like food.
You have a Walmart for $50. Do you do grocery shopping at Walmart?
Sometimes, but mostly it's stuff for the house, cosmetics.
For the food that you're buying there, is that like breakfast, lunch, just random?
Yeah.
Right. Do you make any food and bring it to work?
Sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. That's something that you can start doing regularly instead of going out, because we need to not use any of the credit cards, and everything that you have in your checking needs to go to paying off all the debt that we have. Okay. So you need to find you're going to have to make some sacrifices, at least for a few months.
Uber. So we have a few Uber charges. What's going on with Uber? Are you using it to get to work or?
Mostly for family and friends.
What do you mean?
Usually, like if my family, they need an Uber somewhere, my mom, then I'll get her Uber to go to where she needs to go because she doesn't drive.
All right. So why does that fall on you?
Because it's my mom.
Okay.
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
But how often are you doing that? Or how often is she asking? And where is she going? Is she going to like a doctor's appointment, or is she going just to
Sometimes she's
hang
going
out?
to the doctor's, or she goes to the doctor, or she goes to the grocery store, to the laundry.
Like essentials?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no one else that can help
It's either
her?
that, or I drive to New York and I take her.
Okay.
Yes.
Obviously have to figure out a better way to do that, because that's too expensive. Has she looked into delivery services? I know local grocery stores, you can go through the app, and I mean, you'll get charged a small fee, but at least you're not going to have that large Uber charges, and then it'll save her some time also. It might be cheaper. And I think it's a one-time bagging fee that they'll charge. It's not, from my understanding, it's significantly cheaper than doing the Uber every single time.
Yeah, we have to find a more effective way.
Then it'll just be easier for her. It takes her right to her door.
So subscriptions, I just want to touch on some subscriptions that I see over here. Do you have Apple subscription
Yes.
for $10.62? That's monthly?
Yes.
Okay. Prime,
Yes.
$10.62 as well. I had Comcast over here, but when we spoke earlier, you said you don't have. Oh no, Spectrum you don't have, but now you have Comcast.
Yes.
Okay, so that's $180 a month.
Yes.
Right. What's the Apple for?
The Apple is for the Apple insurance, for the Apple Care. And then some of it is I have Apple charges for Apple Music, and then for the Apple storage.
Oh, so they just lump it into one sum, the $10.68.
No, there should be more charges from Apple, honestly, probably. Because I think,
Apple Music $637.
yeah.
We need to cancel all of those subscriptions. The insurance, depending, I don't know if you have a newer phone. That's for the phone, you said?
Yes.
All right. So I would weigh out and see how much you owe and how much that phone is worth to see if it's even worth keeping. Sometimes there's a certain threshold where once you meet that, it's not even worth it, because you're going to have to pay $200 anyway, right? To get a new phone on top of the
probably,
insurance.
but the
So
insurance.
I would see if it makes sense to have that. It probably doesn't at this point.
For the Apple Music, you pay for I don't have Apple Music, but is it commercials that you're just paying for not to have, like, ad-free?
No. Mm-mm. So, honestly, I just listen to my playlist. So, like, I'll download an album or songs like that. And that's, yeah.
What about, I use SoundCloud. I mean, I know they have commercials once in a while, but SoundCloud is for free and you can download the music on your phone, on the app, and create playlists and whatnot. So, and I think Spotify too has like a free version where you could create your own playlist. Just to look into.
Yeah, I mean, that's another charge that we can get rid of. Granted, it's $6, but you have $6, $10.
So
it starts that up, and before you know it, you're at a few $100s a month.
Yeah.
So I would cut out all subscriptions. I would look into other ways to replace them with free services, because they're out there. For every paid one, there's a free one.
Free version, yeah. Peacock, is that this is streaming service? I think.
Yeah.
Streaming. Okay.
Okay.
$250. Do you use it?
Not that often.
No?
Okay, so
All
we
right.
could get rid of it.
Gone.
Mm-hmm.
For the reoccurring charges, the total is $587. Just so you know, that's with the Klarna, Zipco, and Affirm. That's how much how much it is monthly.
Okay.
Coffee alone is $100 on this card for the month. Well, not coffee, but like the Starbucks and Dunkin'.
Yeah.
And food, $312. But I didn't see any grocery charges on this one. So you don't do groceries at the Target and Walmart, you said, right?
No, not really. No, I go to Stop and Shop.
Okay, for your groceries.
So do you know how much you spend a month on groceries, roughly?
I want to say maybe like $200 a month.
200. Okay. So that combined with the eating out. Okay. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You have another checking account. This is with Citibank. Beginning balance $247, ending balance $137. What do we primarily use this account for?
The same things.
Same things, yeah. Okay.
Why do you have two different checking accounts?
I have 3 different checking accounts because I try to kind of have one where I can not touch the money in there, but it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Like I figure like, oh, it's out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, but it didn't work.
Do you see yourself pulling from it often?
Yes. Yeah.
And then this is your last checking account.
Mm-hmm.
Previous balance of $1,990 with an ending balance of $2,046.76. This one is also a lot of Uber, and Uber. Those are...
And that's all for your mom?
Yeah, and friends. Yeah.
Okay, friends. Sorry, friends. Find another way to get around. Where are they going? You have no idea.
I don't, not all the time, no.
You're so giving. Well, see, like, I'm okay with helping people, but I feel like it could get to a point where it could be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
If you do it one time,
Then you have to
then
continue.
you have to continue it, and they get used to it. So that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
I would say mom, obviously, if she really needs to, then if we can't figure anything else, then you're going to have to. Just for, obviously to keep that relationship. But your friends, absolutely not. No chance. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. And as we go on to this episode, you're going to see you're in a very difficult position. You have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
So that pretty much covers it for your checking account and your credit cards.
Okay.
All right. We're going to start a budget process now. Looks like we have $5,050 coming in net. Okay. That's what we have to work with. Your rent and mortgage, what are you paying a month?
$1,750. I just moved.
$1,750? Okay. And then utilities, since you just moved there, you haven't gotten your first bill yet, right?
No.
Okay. I think we should set it at $150, and that may need to be adjusted up or down depending on the time of the year. The winter might be more. Summer, I guess depending on how hot it is, could go up or down.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Internet and cable, we have $180. Why are you paying so much money?
I have the bundle where it's the cable, the TV, and the home phone.
Okay. Do you have a phone connected?
Yes.
Really? Do you use it?
He said,
I'm surprised you have it. Most people have a service, but they don't have a phone.
So sometimes I do use my home phone, but not really. Like, let's say my cell phone dies, and then I'll call somebody on my home phone, but not really.
Right,
But
right.
I also give the home phone number to the bill collectors, so they don't have to call my cell phone.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the cable, the TV.
It's bundled with their internet, so yeah. I mean, but I don't
Do you
really watch
actually watch
TV.
TV?
My favorite channel is Lifetime, so
Okay.
yes, I do watch Lifetime a lot, but I can get the streaming service of Lifetime.
Okay, so I think we need to cancel that because that's a lot of money. So the internet you need, right?
Yes.
For work and
Just
to have. So
Wi-Fi, of course, where I live, it's in the boondocks in the woods. I wouldn't get no service. Yeah.
we can cut this bill down from $180 to about $50 just for internet. I would get rid of everything else. You don't need the phone and the TV. We don't really watch it, so I would immediately get rid of that. We have a category for subscriptions. You did have a few subscriptions, but we're canceling all of them. You just can't afford it.
All of them?
All of them. You literally cannot afford it.
We have Prime, Peacock, Apple.
There's nothing there. How often do you use Apple? Because even the Apple Music, there's free alternatives. So you don't even need that. I'm not taking away your music, but
Do you have Netflix?
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see it on this checking account.
do you use it?
Yes, sometimes.
Sometimes. Can you live without it?
Yes.
All right, because I want to make this sustainable. So, like, if you realistically think that you can live without it, then we need to cut it out, at least temporarily. And then in the future, if you find yourself actually needing it, then we can eventually add it back in. But we have to tackle this debt. So you need every dollar you can spare.
Okay.
If you can cancel it and you really don't, if you watch it sometimes and you really don't need it. All right. Any other subscriptions or is that it?
That's all that I saw on here.
Okay. Your cell phone, we spoke earlier, you're paying $229. Outrageous. Why is it so high?
I have like 4 lines on my account, or 3 for my mom, myself, and my grandmother.
Okay. Is there any way that they can pay their own bill? Because you're helping mom already with the Uber and now a phone bill. And then you don't have any money.
Yeah.
Mom and grandma, can we have a conversation with them? And are they able to pay their own?
Somewhat, yes.
Somewhat. All right. So I think that's a conversation you need to have with them, at least temporarily, because again, you're paying 30%, up to 30% on some of these credit cards, and you're drowning, and all that money can be reallocated back into paying this off. Once you're in a better position, I'm all for helping if they need it. But right now, you're the one that needs the help.
Okay.
All right. Toiletries. We're going to do $100. That's for toilet paper, tissues, napkins,
Feminine products.
things like that. that can be adjusted very, very slightly, but try to keep that. If you can buy it in bulk, it's going to be cheaper that way.
Okay.
Groceries, it looks like you did pretty decent. We have $300 here. If you can do less than that, great. I would try to do your best to keep it around that number. Okay. Eating out,
Which was
you had a lot of Starbucks, Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts. You're gonna have to cut it out for now
drinks, yeah.
because while Starbucks alone is not gonna make a big difference, but then you have the Starbucks, you have the Dunkin' Donuts, and you have the subscriptions, and then you have all those other things that little charges you add it all up end up being bigger charges. So at least for now, I would cut it out. Cut out everything that you can, and if you need to save up, buy yourself a coffee machine so you can have your coffee or your chai teas or your lattes, whatever. Because we just can't do it. We can't do it. You got yourself into a mess, a really big mess. Yeah. How long have you been in this debt with all the credit card debt?
Honestly, probably like the last year.
The last year you racked up.
Yeah.
It's like 15,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah. The last
Did you
2 year and a half.
When you moved, did you buy a lot of stuff for your apartment or did you transfer stuff over?
For the new apartment now?
Yeah.
So I'm still buying the process.
Buying what do you need?
So I moved to a bigger place, but it's cheaper.
Okay.
So
that's
where I was living was a 1-bedroom. And where I'm living now, it's 3 floors, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
And it's just you?
Yeah.
Full time, it's just you?
Because I moved to a bigger place. So buying another bedroom set, and then because like I had the basement, so the couch that I had, I put the couch in the basement, and then wanted to get a new living room set for the living room.
Okay. And how are you going to buy that? You don't have any money.
Financing.
Yeah, no. That's what we've been doing, and we're drowning. That's why you have all these Klarna, Zipco firms, because you can't buy it outright. And then you're putting that on a payment plan, and then the other thing on a payment plan, and then you have all these payment plans that are adding up, and you're paying interest on not all of them, but on some of them. And it's not something that you need. You want it, but you don't need it, and you're not in a position to do that now.
Right.
You're living in a 2-bedroom now. Is there any opportunity to move that into a 1-bedroom because it's just you, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a roommate?
No.
Can you get a roommate, a friend, someone that can help you offset this cost? Or you have someone, like, you need to figure something out, because while the rent is, you're paying $1,750, it's reasonable for how much you make, but you have all these other bills that you just can't afford that. Mm-hmm. So, and that's going to be the easiest thing to mitigate, to reduce, because again, you have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath that you're not going to use all by yourself.
Right.
I would look into trying to find someone to move in with you, a friend or another female, maybe some recommendations somewhere to offset this cost. A travel nurse, that's perfect. Or if they can, put it online. That Furnish Finder, there's other, different things that, Airbnb, you can rent out a room, something to help you. Obviously, get permission from your landlord. You don't want to do anything that's going to violate the lease, but you got to figure something else out. How much is a 1-bedroom in that area?
Like 12 to 1,500.
I would talk to your landlord, realistically, and see if you can. I know you just moved there, but ask him, because a lot of times landlords will do this. I know I've done this in the past where a tenant, they had an issue where they couldn't live there with that person anymore. And as long as they found me a replacement that met all of my qualifications, then I allowed them to leave and I refund them their security deposit back. That's something that many landlords will do. If you're upfront with them and talk to them, just let them know that, this is not what you expected, or whatever excuse you got to make to get out of it. Give them a sob story for, like, I don't know, whatever you got to say to get out of this, paying this bill. If you can reduce the $1,750 to $1,200, $1,300, that's an extra few $100 back in your pocket that you absolutely need. So that's a conversation that I think you should have.
And then you don't have to buy new furniture.
Yeah, exactly. Then all that furniture that you have, you can keep. You don't have to finance it. You just can't afford it. You can't buy anything else. Your car payment, $754. That is a lot of money. All right. So like I said before, 23.8. You want 20% down payment over 3 years and should not exceed 8% of your gross income. You're not within any of those parameters. You're also upside down on the car. You owe $34,000, it's worth probably about 19 or 20. You're in a tough position because right now your credit, I can assure you it's not great just because all your credit cards are maxed out. So you can refinance this loan. If you sell it and try to buy something else, you're kind of going to be in the same position that you are anyway. My recommendation for this is to go online. There's Facebook groups. I'm sure there's websites that we can look into that we can try to find for you where we can transfer financing of the car into someone else's name and they take over the payments. Even if you got to pay someone $1,000 or $2,000, say, hey, I'll pay you $2,000. All you got to do is take over my payments and it'll transfer into their name. That way you're free and clear from this car because you need to get rid of it. That's the really only option that I see because you're so upside down on it. If you try to sell it, you're going to owe, $15,000, $20,000 and then you're going to have to buy another car and then you're back to square one and then you have nothing. And then BMW is a luxury car. That's not something that you need now. And it seems like you were fortunate to drive BMWs. You got kind of spoiled in that. But it's as the mileage goes up, expenses it's gonna start to break. And they're very expensive. German cars are very expensive.
I know. I just got tires and brakes, so I know.
Yeah. So and then you just don't have it. How'd you pay for that? Tires and brakes. Credit card?
Finance.
Yeah.
Finance, credit card.
Yeah, you can't afford it. We're going to do some research and I'll look into that a little more if you're serious and willing to do that. But you need to get rid of that car. $754 a month. That's a lot. We can save up some money and buy ourselves a $5,000 car, just something to get around. Even if you have to finance a small portion of it, even if you got to spend, maybe $8,000, we can push it. But you don't want to finance all of it. You want to be able to save. But we have to get rid of this debt first.
I'm sorry. The car is just to get to work and back. That's it. You don't do public transportation to work.
No, I don't do public. No, I can't. No, not from where I live. I can't do public transportation. So it's to get back and forth to work and to go see family and friends in New York mostly and run errands and things like. Where I live, it's no public. I tell you, I live in a booth.
Why did you move there? Why are you so far from work?
Because it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
The rent, yeah. Where I was living, it was $2,800, and they wanted to go up to $2,900. But yes, it's closer to work. I could take an Uber there for $10 one way, and then $10 back. There's buses and trains that are near there, closer. It's in the city more so, where I lived. But I moved kind of away
to save the money.
Yeah,
that's good that you did that. But the problem is it's still too expensive compared to because you have so much going on. Have you looked into studios in that area next to your job?
Yes.
How much? What's the price range?
Studio is like $1,500, $1,600.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's in the city. Like where I lived was very expensive. I lived in Trumbull, Connecticut, and it's very expensive.
Okay, so
that's why the one bedroom was $2,800.
So from a studio to a one bedroom, it's that large of a gap?
Well,
because of the location.
But I can move a little bit outside of where I lived in Trumbull and move to Bridgeport, which is the town over, which is where my job is located in that city technically. And it'll be a little bit cheaper.
So you can get a studio for $1,500 and be near your job.
Yeah.
I think that's the play.
Yeah.
Because then you don't need a car. Right? You said you can take public transportation. It's a no-brainer. And then you're going to save on gas. We're going to talk about it, but your gas, $475 you're paying a month because you're going back and forth. And then you're also you said you're going to see your family in New York. Is there a way for you to get from that place to New York? Public transportation?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a no-brainer. I think you need to start doing some homework, talk to the landlord, see if you can get out of that lease. Look for studios near your job and then get rid of this car. And then when you go to New York, you can just take the public transportation. You're going to have to sacrifice. I know it sucks and it's a lot. Like your life is going to be upside down for a little bit, but it's something that you have to do because if you don't make these sacrifices now, you're going to be dealing with this for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? And then we spoke about retirement. You were contributing to retirement, right? But you stopped. Mm-hmm. Not even the match you're taking.
No.
Why did you do that?
So that I can have more money in my pocket each paycheck.
To pay these bills.
Yeah.
Once we get rid of all these bills, then we want to at least contribute to the match at minimum. That's something that you need to do right away. And then you need to start working more. You said you're 32 hours you're working. Mm-hmm. You need to work 40 minimum.
100 hours.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to get overtime. You're gonna have to work some overtime. Do you have the ability to work some overtime?
Yes.
All right. How much overtime can you work?
I guess, I mean, I don't know. Probably not as much as I want to, but, you know, because it's two different, I don't know. I guess as much as I want.
As much as you want?
Yeah.
All right. So that's what we need to do.
But then they're going to kill me in taxes, Marco.
It's a progressive tax system. That doesn't matter. That's a myth. So you're getting taxed at this rate up to a certain amount. And then when you go into the next tax bracket, it's only the difference. Your entire income doesn't change. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't change the entire tax bracket. It's as you make more, just that portion gets taxed at that higher rate. So you have to work. If you have the ability to work 40 hours, I was like full-time job, and then some, as much as you want, you're going to have to grind it out at least until you can get out from under this, the major stuff. Obviously, we have the student loan we'll discuss, which is a totally different scenario, but at least the credit cards, you know?
Totally different scenario.
Yeah, that's a whole nother mess. You know, fortunately that, you know, interest rate isn't insane compared to these credit cards, but you're a nurse, you make good money and you can make that much more. You know, see me for 6 months because that's what it's going to take. Okay. Car insurance, we have $294 a month. Why is that so high?
I thought that was actually cheap because in New York, I was paying $450 for car insurance.
A month?
Yeah.
Do you have accidents?
I had an accident, but the accident wasn't until 2021. But even before that, without having accidents in New York, my car insurance was over $400 and something. Yeah.
That's wild.
What
It
about
was a BMW. I don't know. But we're also, too, I was in Brooklyn. I was living in Brooklyn. So I think that's why.
the car?
Okay, so what I would do is, how did you get that? Like, what, did you follow a process to do it? Or did you just call anyone and then just signed up? Or did you shop around?
So I have tenure with Geico. So I've had it for 10 years. I've had my insurance for 10 years.
They don't care about you. Well,
But I've called other places because I called State Farm. So when I moved into my apartment recently, they had like the renter's insurance. So I called, but I'm saving way more money with Geico than if I was to switch and go somewhere else because I've been with them for so long.
I would call a broker and have him price it out. I guarantee you, I do that every year and they always find me something cheaper. I have a company that I haven't even heard of before and they're significantly cheaper.
Yeah. I'm like, who's that?
Yeah. I was able to save a lot of money. So I would do that. But that's not going to be a problem anymore, right? Because we're not going to have the car. We're going to try to get rid of it. So that's another $300 back in your pocket. Because that's not an easy process. It's going to take some time to do that. But at least for now, like once we finish here, I would get on the phone or get on the internet, look up some insurance brokers and then make some phone calls and send some emails. And they're going to ask you for your policy. Just send that over. They'll match. So it's apples to apples. So your coverage doesn't change. And I can guarantee you can get a better price because that's high. All right. What else we got? Pets? Do you have any pets?
No.
No? Okay. We have Easy Pass. We saw charges there. It looks like it's $85 a month. Is that because you're going to work or is that going to visit your family?
Going to New York.
To New York in general? Okay. So again, that's something that hopefully we can eliminate. If you can move, then you can take the public transportation. That's another $85 back into your pocket. Okay. As far as the debts go, we have the Synchrony. That was $3,620. We have a minimum payment of $136. So we added that into your budget. We have Klarna. That's $79 total. So we have two payments of $39.58
Left.
and then we're done with that. You have Affirm, total balance $774. You have a minimum payment of $185.59. So it looks like you have a few payments to go for that. Zipco, we have a minimum payment of $168 and a total amount due of $168. So once you make that payment, that at least is gone.
Okay.
After following all of this to the T, no eating out, literally nothing outside of this budget, you're left with $10.
That means no fun.
That means no fun until you can get out of this. You have to work. You have to get that overtime. You have to. And then you have to change your living situation. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Again, temporarily. Do this for a year, 2 years, get ahead. That way you can start maxing out your retirement, your 401k, and then you can invest into a Roth IRA. Right now,
I
I
have a
think
Roth IRA.
you have a Roth IRA? Okay, awesome. Were you maxing that out before?
It was, I think, 6%.
6%. Okay, so what I would do is now you can contribute up to $7,000 a year. Normally, I would recommend that, but right now you can't do that now because you're trying to, you're historically looking to get, between 8 and 10% returns, but then you're losing 15 to 30% on these credit cards. So we want to be able to invest, but we can't do that until we clear up this mess. Okay. That being said, after the payment plans, then you have the minimum credit card payments. All those credit card payments, you have $323.76 is what you're responsible for.
The minimum.
The minimum. Okay. Student loans, right now we have $0 allocated to that because we're not making any payments. Those payments are going to be coming up soon.
June, right?
Yep.
In June. You have quite the situation on your hands. I mean, you said we saw a payment minimum due is going to be like $1,300, but that could possibly change because you're not IDR, right?
Yeah.
IDR is an income-driven repayment plan. So your payments are based on essentially your income, how much you make, and that has to be recertified every year through them because you're going for PSLF, it's a public student loan forgiveness plan, which we think we spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
After you have to make on-time payment, 120 on-time payments. The problem with that is right now that it's been working, but that's because of our current president. Historically, they have found every which way to deny applicants. So that's unfortunately not something that I would rely on. I would start making a plan to pay that off. Continue for now, you have to call them and see what you can work out. If there's some sort of program that you can at least defer payments until you can get out of this credit card debt. And then once you're out of this, you're going to have to aggressively start tackling that. Because I don't think it's wise because you have still a ton of payments left, right? I saw some of them you're like halfway, and then some of them they haven't even started yet.
Yeah.
So again, that's really a gamble. It's something that you're gonna have to weigh out and see if it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, if they don't forgive it, they're looking for every way to disqualify you, you're gonna end up paying all that interest if you just make the minimum payment. So I don't recommend you banking on that.
Okay.
I would start aggressively paying it down, but that's only after you take care of this credit card debt.
Okay.
What I recommend you do
Mm-hmm.
is there's two different methods to pay down debt that's typically talked about in the budgeting world, right? There's a snowball method and there's the avalanche method.
Okay.
The snowball method is you arrange your balances from smallest to largest, and you make all the minimum payments except for the smallest balance. You pay as much money as you have left over. So, for example, we have Klarna at $79. You have Zipco at $168, Affirm at $774. So what you're going to do is you're going to pay the minimum on the Affirm, the minimum on the Zipco, and then everything else that you have left over is going to go to paying that $79. So eventually what happens is you start knocking off the smaller balances first.
Okay.
The other method is the avalanche method. That is typically mathematically better because regardless of the balances, now you're taking interest into account. But the problem with that is people can't stick to that long term because they're not seeing those psychological wins. So for example, if you have a Navy Federal that's almost $5,000, it's going to take you a lot longer to pay off that $5,000 than it's going to take you to pay off the $79, so $168. So it may feel like you're not making any progress.
Right.
That's why they recommend the snowball, because psychologically, it's going to give you those instant gratifications like, oh, I paid this off, I paid this off, I paid this off, as opposed to you paying off the highest interest for 12, 13 months and you feel like you're getting nowhere.
Right.
So that's why that typically works a lot better.
Okay.
And I think that's the strategy for you. I would not do any Klarnas, Zipcos, any payment plans. That's all. It's all a game to help you spend more, and they're breaking it up into smaller payments, sucking you into to do it. So don't do it. Don't do it anymore. I don't know how did you get into that?
My friend.
Your friend? Okay. Well, tell your friend that stop giving you advice because it's led you down a path of
Pain.
Exactly. So don't do that. Credit cards, you can't use them anymore. Cut them up. You can't. You have
Don't close them.
Don't, yeah,
Just
don't close
use them.
but just don't use them.
Okay.
Okay. I'm a proponent of credit cards. If they're used correctly, unfortunately, you are in a position where you are not using them correctly and you're not taking advantage of them. They're taking advantage of you. So I would literally cut them up.
Okay.
Because you have no money. So normally what I would recommend is set up auto pay for the full statement balance. But you can't do that because you just don't have the money. So what I would do is, do you have them on auto pay right now?
I used to, yes.
You have them? Okay. I would set them on auto pay for the minimum balance until you can afford to make, full statement balance payments. Okay. That being said, I think that's the best method for you is to use the snowball method. Okay. Again, you're going to work every moment that you're not sleeping, you're going to be working, at least for the next 2 years. I know it's going to suck, but if you want to live a good life in the future, and I don't know what your plans are, if you want to have kids, husband, buy a house, if you want to start a business, all of these things that, we briefly touched on, you can't do that in the position that you're in. You don't have an emergency fund. So God forbid something happens to your car, like we spoke about something, you had some repairs, right? You have to finance on credit card. You shouldn't have to do that. You make way too much money. You're making $95,000 a year, working 32 hours a week. There's no reason for that. You can be making, you have the ability to make way more, invest way more, and set yourself up. You got to clear this shit here. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just discipline. You have to find that discipline.
Just for now. Normally would like to give you some money to play with, but you just don't have it. You literally have $10 left following a strict budget. If you can in fact move, you'll reduce your living costs, you'll reduce your gas, you'll reduce the car payment because you're going to use the public transportation. That's thousands of dollars back. That's what's going to make the difference. The Starbucks every single day, it's the one time, it's not going to make a difference. But like I said before, you add all those up and they turn into large chunks, and you need that. You need everything you can get.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you need help in talking to your landlord or coming up with something, I'll be more than happy to help you, and then we can figure out some strategies to get you out of this. Okay. Any final thoughts?
Any questions? Final thoughts?
No.
You got your work cut out.
I know. I do.
Well, we thank you for
this is a great intervention.
Yeah,
Some
sometimes
people
we
need it.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you came here, and we appreciate you coming out here, being brave and putting your life on display, because we know it's not easy to do.
I know. I'm like, how is this going to affect my real estate? My friends, they're like, because nobody knows I live like this, because I don't.
But
you know what? I can bet you're not alone. Who knows? Maybe the closest person they know or people who you work with are in similar situations that you're in.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people we talk to are in very similar situations, and they are embarrassed to talk about it because money's taboo, and they think that their friends or family are going to frown upon them. Mm-hmm. Little do they know their friends or family are in the same exact position because everyone's making the same mistakes because no one was taught this.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that, we're here, but thankfully for you, you have a good job. You have the ability to work overtime. You could bang this out in a few months. If you follow this, with the exception of your student loans, you can get out of this debt in 41 months, which is actually, no, check that, in 39 months, which is about 3 years. This is you paying the minimum. If you work overtime, you can do this, and you can cut that in half or even less, depending on how much you make and how disciplined you are.
Right.
I believe in you.
I believe in myself.
Yeah, you got this.
I believe in you.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.